Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we're going to be talking with Jonathan, and we're going to be discussing what is protein. Hey man, you want something to stand on?
No, Chris.
As you can see, my specimen, my experiment, my brother, he's back. Today we're going to be talking about some protein. We're going to be talking about what he's been doing to gain muscle. In a little while we're going to put a picture up so you can see some before and afters. I don't think I'm going to have him strip this time. He gets a little happy when he gets to strip. But we're just going to talk about what he's been doing since the last time we spoke to him, which was a month and a half ago?
Like 2 months ago, something like that.
2 months, that sounds about right. We're going to get to see his results, and basically he's going to start training me. We've actually already started on Monday. So as I promised, you're going to get to watch a skinny guy turn into a buff guy. Athletically toned guy, that's probably a better way to put it.
That's a little better.
Probably not gonna get buff. I really don't want to get buff. Yeah, so I guess we should start with, first of all, let me tell you guys, John is going through personal training course. Is that what it is? So he's gonna be getting certified. So he's well versed in the different terminologies and he understands the different muscles and stuff like that, especially from doing massage therapy and all the other trainings he has. So he's really certified. He really knows what he's talking about. So I'm gonna ask you, the professional, all right? Now let's say that I wanna get big, all right? Conventional means, what are some of the common things that someone will tell you, whether it's workout, diet, or whatever?
Well, yeah, with conventional beans, you might hear something like, okay, obviously protein is most important. You're gonna need to eat, I've heard you should eat your body weight in grams of protein a day, and that's gonna allow you to, I think that's maintain where you're at, but then you need to take it above a little bit, and that'll help your muscles start to grow. Outside of just protein, they say you also need a little bit of carbs as well to get that muscle growth. But traditional means it's all about eat protein, eat excess of calories. So if you're burning 2,000 calories just on your own without doing anything, add on 300 calories a day and you'll start to gain muscle that way, and make sure it's protein. Basically that's basically how you do it. You work out, you have your meals and everything. You have that certain amount of protein depending on your body weight, and you add those extra 300 calories, and that's how you put on muscle. That's the traditional thing to do if you want to gain muscle.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, just out of curiosity, would you say that works? Does it not work?
I would say that it works. People that do it, they follow these strict regimens, and they listen to their whomever's training them or whatever, and it starts to work. They get the muscles get bigger. They start to see the results after a few weeks, a month, or whatever it is. And they put on their muscle that they want.
Okay. So just to be clear, we're not saying that those traditional means or the mainstream means don't work. That's not what we're saying. Once again, this is a healthy alternative, right? So what we're going to be talking to you about is what is the healthy alternative to the mainstream ways of putting on muscle. Now, we have a friend. You guys have seen him in the intro, and hopefully one day we'll get the interview done with him. But he, when he was younger, he started working out. He's probably about 15, 16. He started working out, and at the time he was a vegetarian. Well, he's like a pescatarian. He did eat fish and chicken. I don't even know if that's really a pescatarian, but yeah. So he would eat fish and chicken, but he mainly ate vegetables. He just didn't really eat red meat. Anyway, so he did a lot of exercising, but he didn't go super hardcore. But I noticed that his muscles got really dense and defined. And he's built like me. He's tall, he's slender, but he's more athletically toned. He's a lot stronger. And that's what I'm trying to do, get just a little bit stronger, get a couple little muscles in there. you know. But I noticed that he never really loses his muscle definition. Now, the interesting thing about it is when we moved to Texas about 4 years ago or so, he started doing the traditional means of gaining weight, getting bigger. He was eating a lot more chicken. He was eating, pasta, and he was doing protein shakes, which he's very against any supplements. So it was the first time he ever did it. And he got big. He got big pretty fast. Couple of months, and he was noticeably bigger. And I was very impressed with his size. He was just swole, right? And then he stopped. He stopped eating all that stuff. He stopped taking the protein, and he lost it like that. And so what that showed me is, while yes, you can get big and puffed up and your muscles look swole, if you stop doing those things, it seems like it goes away.
Oh yeah. It goes away quickly too. If you haven't been doing it for like 20 years and you've just got years of old muscle built up, it goes away like instantly.
So it's kind of like an easy come, easy go type thing. Mm-hmm. So what we're gonna be talking about today is I don't know if I wanna say proper method, but the healthy alternative to that methodology. And what you do when you build the muscle, you'll retain it much longer, because what I didn't tell you is the muscle he built when he was younger, when he was kind of on that kind of pescatarian type diet, he never loses that. I call it his base form. He'll go back down to that size, but he never loses that definition. He never loses that core strength. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, because that's along the lines of what John's been doing. So John, tell us what you've been doing.
Well, I still fast. That's my main source of food is fasting.
Air and water.
And juice. But that's what I do most of the time. There's my diet when I'm eating. I still enjoy pizza. I still have ice cream. The biggest thing is that I don't overindulge on these things. And by that I mean I don't get full off of the foods that I eat anymore. I don't overindulge, and that's very important. But as far as, my macronutrients and all these other things, my fat and protein and carbohydrates and stuff, I couldn't tell you any of that stuff, because I don't use any of that as a starting point for my fitness regimen. It's just, if I want to have something that's got meat in it, I'll have it. I don't eat a lot of meat. If I have a slice of pizza or whatever and it's got pepperoni on it, I'm not a big fan of pepperoni. I might have it, but most of the time I pick them off. Most of the foods that I do eat when I am eating actually are, carb based. I don't actively eat a lot of protein or whatever. The biggest thing is, what was the question you asked me again? I feel like I'm starting to ramble.
Well, I was just asking exactly what have you been doing to get the growth that you have that we're going to be showing you guys pretty soon? Okay,
so what I've been doing exactly is Monday through Friday or Sunday through Thursday, whichever I choose. I'm going to work out today, so it'll be Sunday. I just lift consistently, 5 days a week minimum. Sometimes it's 6. It hasn't been 6 in a while, but I lift 5 days a week minimum. And there is no excuse. I do it. I've been doing it for months now. Well, since last September. And I started off slow, and I've been, working my way up. I started off, 3 times a week, doing like 3 sets of each exercise I was doing, and I slowly moved that up to, 4 days a week to 5 days a week, then the 4 sets, and then now 5 sets. And I wonder why I'm in the gym for upwards of 2 hours. But that's because also I would get off track. Lately, I've been bringing the time down because I've been focusing on, I've increased my endurance a lot with the exercise that I've been doing. So I don't need to take breaks as much or as long as I feel like I need to. So I've been able to cut down my time. But more than anything, it's just consistency. I don't focus on my diet at all. My diet doesn't really exist because of how much I fast.
Now, what's your fasting been like since you? because you got to a point in the last video where you weren't really trying to lose massive amount of weight. Are you still doing 3 to 5 days a week, or is it sporadic? How are you fasting?
Yeah, I generally, if I'm fasting, I generally go for 5 days. And it's kind of a struggle, not a struggle, but it is kind of a struggle because I like I don't need to fast as far as to lose weight anymore in that way. I do it because it's very effective for losing weight, but losing inches and everything as well. Right now I'm just focused on just losing a few more inches here and there, so I get to a point where I get completely shredded. Like, you know, the fitness models are, you know, that do the physique competitions. Now I'm not training for a physique competition yet. I might, but I still want to look as lean as one of those kind of guys. But I also want to be able to maintain it year round. And I think the biggest thing with those guys is that they have to do a regimen where they're doing calorie restriction and they're training for it for, you know, three months and to get to this point where they get to optimum, you know, rippedness and, you know, dehydration, so they look that way. But then as soon as the competition's over, once they start eating normally again, all of that rippedness goes away. Well, most of it goes away, and they still look good, but they don't look as good as they did on their performance day. I potentially would like to look how they look on performance day all the time. That's my goal. But to do that, it's the consistency in the gym that counts. It's not so much about your diet, because again, I don't have a diet. I fast most of the time. If I eat on, you know, something on the weekends or whatever, I enjoy it. I don't binge. I don't overindulge, but you know, then I'm back on it, and I've seen consistent results in the last, you know, 3 months since however long ago when I hit the 100-pound mark.
About
2.5, 3 months. I hit the 100-pound mark of loss, and we'll show the picture. And you know, I had a little bit of fat on my stomach left over, maybe a little bit of loose skin. I mean, it was definitely some, but when you look at other people when they have loose skin, it's just like they're pulling their stomach and there's like a ton of it on there. I just had a little bit, and that's basically all gone now. And you'll see it. There's a massive difference. The only thing I changed was the fact that I was still working out every day. I just now added cardio, and I don't do cardio because I'm trying to lose weight. I do cardio because I just went to the park one day and decided to run. And I was just like, I actually enjoy this. You know, I ran 3 miles. I was like, I enjoy this. I just started doing it because I enjoy it, not because it's a requirement.
So with the other thing with the intermittent fasting, I know, I don't remember we talked about it on the last video, but we were talking about the human growth hormone. You know, so as far as continuing, I know one of the things you want to do is test that out, see how, you know, true that was. Because what we've been hearing is over the span of about 24 hours to 48 hours, you get this humongous boost in your human growth hormone up to 2,000%, which will allow you to build muscle several times faster than you typically would. So with that being said, have you noticed that with the intermittent fasting / long-term water fasting, have you seen those growths in your muscles and your strength? Also, have you seen any plateaus?
Okay, so as far as plateaus, I haven't really tested the limits of where I'm at right now in a while, because what I tend to do is I'll go really heavy on weight and then I'll back it down, because there's benefits to lifting lighter, because you can generally control the weight better, but also you can really stretch your muscle a lot more. Because if you're lifting heavier, you fatigue quicker, and you know it takes a little while to really get that benefit. So I kind of go back and forth. So I haven't really tested my plateaus. I got to the point where I could dumbbell curl a 50-pound weight. I actually think 55.
55 pounds.
And, and I actually had this one guy, he's a bodybuilder. He's like arms literally double the size of mine, who's competing in September. He was just like, dude, I saw you curling those 50s, man. Those things are freaking heavy. And I was just like, wow, this dude's arms are literally double size of mine. That was a huge compliment. So, you know, I was like, wow. But I would imagine I don't have, like I said, I haven't tested in my plateaus or anything, but I think I'm still steadily progressing. I don't ever feel like I'm stuck at a particular weight for any amount of time.
Right.
I just, you know, I go up and down for various different reasons, but
right.
you know, haven't really tested my limits. What was the other thing you asked me?
I was asking if you felt like the human growth hormone.
Right. So the human growth hormone, I did that. I would do 1 day fast on and off because after 24 hours, it's supposed to increase your growth hormone up to 2,000%. And I did that for, I think, 3 weeks before I just went back on to doing like, you know, longer fasts and stuff like that. But I don't know, I have to say, generally, I feel like it's true because how else can you make the gains that I've made when you don't have a plan, you don't have a diet plan? I'm not eating more calories than my body burns in a day. I'm not, you know, doing anything special as far as the diet goes. I work out consistently. I work out hard. You know, I get that pump and I notice a difference. I would notice vascularity in my legs, which I've never had before until now. Vascularity in my arms like crazy. I even have ab veins. I've got 2 big ab veins, you know, just on my lower abs. And they're starting to, and I see people on Instagram all the time that got ab veins. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want that. And I actually have 2 of them now. And it's, you know, it's really exciting that I'm finally getting to that point. So I'd say I have to keep doing it. I've been doing it off and on like that. You have to be persistent, but with the little bit that I did do, and then going back to just, you know, fasting for 4 or 5 days at a time, again, I feel like it works because I'm making these gains in strength and definition, and I'm not eating more, which is traditionally what you have to do to get bigger muscles. I'm not doing that, and I'm still getting bigger, denser muscles.
That's what I was just about to ask you.
Yeah,
it's a big difference between just a big muscle and a dense muscle.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of segues into what we were talking about before with our roommate who, you know, when he started eating the protein, he started eating the chicken, he started eating the pasta, and he got all big, his muscles got huge, but then he lost it all when he stopped, you know. And I think that what you're doing is you're building muscle density, which is a little slower process, but with consistency and just doing it, just happens naturally.
Right.
And it doesn't require all this protein, all these supplements, this insane diet plan. It's very simple.
Yes.
And the other thing about it too is, see, I eat a little different from John. John does fasting a lot more than I do. I will do a 24-hour fast sporadically, and I will do intermittent fasting on a regular basis. So we do different types of fasts, but I'm going to continue eating the way I eat, which is pretty much an 80% alkaline diet. And then just along with him on the weekends, I go out, you know, I have my fun, whatever, have some pizza or whatever it is I want, but I don't overindulge. And fasting helped me with that. Fasting helped clear my mental so that when I do eat bad food, I don't overindulge. And once again, you want to focus on digestion. So over the weekend, I had me a few apricots, which I'm going to be testing some apricots in a smoothie. I got some fresh apricots. I usually eat the dry ones. So I'm going to see how that works out, if it helps flush my system out about the same, which I think it will. And so you guys will get to see my progress, and you'll get to compare and contrast to 2 different diets and stuff like that. Of course, John's like 4 or 5 months ahead of me. 6 months. No. 8 months.
I'm like, yeah.
He's like 8 months ahead. He's like 8 months ahead of me on the working out. But you guys will get to see, you know, how I progress. I'm currently doing 3 days a week at the gym. I just got back from, you know, doing a walk at the park, 4 miles. And so that was kind of sporadic, but I did leg day on Friday, and John's like, you gotta get up, you gotta move. Don't lay down, don't sit down, keep moving. You know, so I did a little walk.
Gotta avoid that. The soreness gets bad. If you get stagnant after that, it's gonna be terrible. So get that movement, you know, it helps alleviate some of that. Soreness.
He's the professional, so I'm listening to him.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna get more specifically into protein, which is really what I wanted to talk about. I definitely wanted to show John's progress pictures and stuff like that. So we'll go ahead and we'll put those on the screen right now. You guys get a chance to see how much, oh, just real quick, as they're looking at the pictures, how much weight do you think you put on? And it's all muscle, people, because he doesn't eat. So it's all muscle. That's amazing to know that you've put on pure muscle.
Right. I would have to say, honestly, to be modest, I'll say 10 to 15 pounds. But it may be like 12 or 13 pounds. But because when I go on my fast again and I see that my weight's only dropping to it drops to a certain point really quickly, then it slows down. It slows down. So I know it doesn't really drop down into in the 170s anymore.
That's significant.
Yeah. So I got down to 171, which was my 100-pound mark. Now I don't drop down to the 170s anymore. I probably have to fast for a while for it to get back into that range. But yeah, you saw the picture. You can see there's a huge difference. The thickness of my arms, my traps, my stomach and chest. You could see how it's tightened up quite a bit. And again, I've done nothing different except exercise continually and still fast from time to time, and that's the only thing that I've done different. And it's all about just staying consistent. And I've heard people say, just stay consistent, more than anything. And that's very true. If you're so worried about your diet and what you're eating and the protein and blah 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 and meal prepping and this and that, you get stressed out and overwhelmed and you quit and then the next year you're like, crap, I'm just as bad as I was last year. You just stay consistent. That is the best thing you can do for yourself more than anything else.
Stay away from them New Year's resolutions too.
Yeah, don't wait till New Year's. That's stupid.
It's no bueno. It's not a good place to start mentally. It's like, okay, I want to do it, but I'm gonna wait. And then it comes around and it's like, there's a party going on, or and you start making excuses. And 1 month into your New Year's resolution, you haven't even done anything.
Yeah.
So I put a quote on my Facebook, and it essentially said, I'll do it, but talk is cheap. And you say, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. And then you have some people that say, oh, well, I'll just give it to God. God will handle it for me. But faith without works is dead. So if you're not putting in the work, if you guys don't have the mental fortitude to do these things, it's never gonna happen. There's no such thing as magic.
Yeah.